Indie Mogul.
Welcome to this week's Movie Math. Here are today's headlines in a special Boys of Summer edition. Zac Efron envisions an acting empire, Tom Cruise might lose his, Haley Joel Osment is just hoping to get back on the map, and of course the weekend box office. Now let's get started. While Robert Pattinson complains about being stuck in his role as Edward Cullen, Zac Efron is actually doing something about his similar dilemma. Many in Hollywood wondered if there was life beyond High School Musical for Efron, and sometimes when Hollywood gets an idea, it's hard to convince them otherwise. So Efron is taking matters into his own hands, setting up his own production company at Warner Brothers. Yes, if Hollywood won't cast Efron in more adult roles, he's going to do it himself. I say kudos to Efron, and I'm impressed he convinced Warner Brothers to take him on, despite the lackluster box office performance of 17 again. Efron's company, Ninjas Runnin' Wild, will first produce a workplace comedy for him to star in, and has 4 other films in development, all of which will allow Efron to play a master thief, travel through time, join the CIA, and sell drugs. Looks like someone is studying the Leonardo DiCaprio playbook, although DiCaprio didn't put himself in the producer's chair until he was 30 and a little further along in his career. But despite all his best efforts, Efron shouldn't forget that he has found a very good friend in producer-director Adam Shankman, who gave Efron his first non-High School Musical movie role in Hairspray and has been producing Efron's films ever since, even this upcoming workplace comedy. So just remember that if anyone ever tells you it's show business and not show friends, that person is just making an excuse for something awful they're going to do to you or already have. Hopefully you'll get the chance to say it back to them once you extract your revenge. Speaking of it's show business and not show friends, that's something Tom Cruise could be hearing very soon from Paramount Pictures. While the studio claims that Cruise will definitely be starring in the next Mission Impossible film, they refuse to pinky swear. Why? A little film called Night and Day, which is proving to do very little at the box office. In its 4th frame, Night and Day has only pulled in $69 million domestically, which is pretty poor for a film that cost $117 million to make. Therefore, like so many movies this summer, it'll be up to the foreign box office to save the day. Industry insiders are saying that Night and Day will have to make over $200 million overseas in order for Paramount to feel comfortable continuing with Cruise for Mission Impossible. The film is currently up to $63 million. Harsh. Tom Cruise's team has been blaming everything from 20th Century Fox to the poster to the release date for Night and Day's poor box office performance, but at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. For another actor to take on the role of Ethan Hunt, boy, I don't know if Cruise can recover from a blow like that. While Zac Efron seems to be following in the footsteps of Leonardo DiCaprio, Haley Joel Osment seems to be taking his cues from Dakota Fanning. Fresh off of a drunk driving and marijuana possession conviction, Osment has signed to star in the comedy Sex Ed. That must mean production company MPC has a sixth sense, as they can see dead careers. Do you want to see Osment starring in a Harold and Kumar type comedy where he plays a high school teacher who must teach sex ed despite still being a virgin? As I recall it, Osment's ticket to fame was his ability to cry and act uncannily like an adult. Tricks that are much less impressive when you actually are an adult who has been unemployed for a very long time. Christopher Nolan can breathe easy now that his latest film Inception has opened at #1 with $60 million, proving that The Dark Knight wasn't an anomaly on his box office resume. However, while this is an excellent opening gross for a non-sequel film, matched only this year by Clash of the Titans, one still has to wonder if Nolan can escape the long shadow of The Dark Knight. Fascinatingly, the audience for Inception was 56% male and an astounding 75% under 35, which sounds a lot like Dark Knight fans. While Warner Brothers has correctly pointed out that Nolan is now his own brand, the next question has to be, is that brand intertwined with The Dark Knight? The answer to that question will come in the following weeks as we see if other audiences decide to give Inception a spin. In second place, Despicable Me continued its plans to overthrow the box office by stealing another $32 million, bringing its 2-week total to $118 million. That puts it in the middle of the pack when it comes to box office performances for this year's computer-animated films, yet in a much better position when you consider its significantly smaller budget. Regardless, computer-animated films are 4 for 4 this year. In third place was The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which opened with $17 million over the weekend and $24.4 million since its Wednesday bow. That's an opening on par with this year's Kick-Ass, a film which only reached $48 million domestically. Looks like Cage and Cruise will be attending Broken Movie Stars Anonymous meetings together. As for the rest of the box office, Toy Story 3 continued its ascendance into the box office heavens, while Predators found itself hunted and killed with a steep 72% drop in its second weekend. And that's this weekend's box office. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math.
Subscribe, comment, rate it.